You're going to love this. Trust me, what you're seeing now is my normal state.
Welcome, I'm Spaghetti King, and I planned this to be my last Naruto discussion for now. Believe it or not, I'm not really like a Naruto diehard. I just had Naruto on the brain, so I wanted to get out some topics that were coming to mind for me. And this will be the last one. And I guess it will be the most controversial one. I don't really know. Whatever. How people respond to it is how people respond to it. But, you know, something I've found within the Naruto fanbase. I mean, of course, the Western Naruto fanbase. And I don't want to get into that because I say some things that are kind of stereotypical and they would make people very angry if I was saying them if you didn't have a good context of what I was saying, so I'm just not going to go on to them. But the point is, among this fan base, and probably among all the other fan bases too, Minato Namikaze is ridiculously popular. You know, you have a lot of people who are like Uchiha haters. They're like, oh man, the Uchiha is so overrated. Ah man, the Uchiha, they have all these powers. Kishimoto, you're so stupid for making the Uchiha so relevant, so powerful. And they'll like, you have Sasuke haters. You have Itachi lovers. Like Itachi, like diehard people. People who follow the Itachi religion. Look it up. The one kid who committed suicide because Itachi died in Naruto or whatever it was. Look it up. You have Madara haters. And you have a couple Madara lovers. I don't really know about the Madara lovers. The Madara lovers tend to keep quiet because probably we are smart. Because we were able to stomach the Fourth Ninja War because of our boy Madara. Okay, I don't want to be too opinionated, but you know what I'm saying. But you know, you have a lot of people who are like, why do you like Madara? You know, he's an Uchiha. Uchiha suck. Uchiha are overrated. Uchiha shouldn't be as relevant in the stories they are. Blah 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 blah. And I also hear people who are willing to agree on certain problems with other characters. So, for example, people love Kakashi. They love Kakashi, but a lot of people these days are willing to agree that, oh yeah, like why didn't he go blind, and like how did he have like a Mangekyo Sharingan for like 20 years and like not know about it, and like why does he have like infinite chakra in the Fourth Ninja War, and why does he have a perfect Susanoo? It's like the most stupid thing that Kishimoto ever drew, and why is Obito a pedophile, and why is Obito so ridiculously annoying? Although people... The Obito fan, but I'm not going to go into Obito, but like there are Obito fans, and there are Obito haters. But the point is, people are more willing to agree on the flaws of Kakashi, but on Kakashi's character itself, they tend to love this man. They love Kakashi. And I'm not here to talk about necessarily any of that. Well, I'm here to talk about things connected to that, but Minato Namikaze, out of all this hate, out of all this, Respude, and out of all this, admiration, the only thing I see is love. They love this dude. They love this dude to death. And, well, I'm here today to maybe give you a different perspective. To talk about some things that I don't feel are highlighted enough. So, let's go section by section with this. What is Minato known as? Well, he is known for being the Fourth Hokage. From the very beginning of Naruto, this is what he's known for. I mean, he's in the first chapter. Oh, the Fourth Hokage. Wait for the Fourth Hokage! Ah! Lord Fourth! Ah! Whatever. You know, so that's what he's known for. He shows up, seals the Nine-Tailed Fox into Naruto. At this point, we don't know that Naruto is his son. And, from there, he is a kind of mysterious character. I mean, back then, he really was mysterious. We didn't know who he was. We didn't know what his powers were. We didn't really even know what he looked like. So he was basically just a kind of system of hype at that point. And later on, he would be sort of like a benchmark for Naruto, like in Shippuden, like when Naruto does the Rasen Shuriken, and Kakashi's like, I think you've surpassed me, and like Naruto is like directly compared to Minato in that scene. There's like a image of like Minato behind him. Kakashi mentions that like Naruto is like surpassing Minato because he was able to do something Minato wasn't. Because Minato was not able to add an element to the Rasengan, so blah blah blah. Okay. So let's rate Minato as the Fourth Hokage. specifically as an Hokage, right? As a Hokage, how was he compared to the other Hokage? Was he good? Well, he had the shortest tenure of any of the Kage. We don't know specifically how long it is. If you listen to people who kind of hype it up, some of them suggest it was a couple years, which I would like to believe, but as far as we know, he was Hokage roughly for like a year at best. Roughly like that. Which automatically means he didn't really do much overall. There isn't really much we can attribute to him, specifically as Hokage. So, like, whereas the third Hokage as well, we don't know necessarily of all the things he did to change the village. At least he was Hokage for a long time, you know, before and after Minato was Hokage. So, even if we don't really know specifically if that much he changed, at least we know that he maintained the village relatively peacefully for a very long time, whereas Minato, well... the Ninth-tailed Fox shows up under his tenure, under Toby, and of course we didn't know it was Toby originally, but, you know, here's where we get to see Minato's decision-making as Hokage. So number one, he goes on, I don't know what you would say, hiatus, before he takes out the Kyuubi. Now, he later shows up with, like, Gamabunta to, like, fight the Kyuubi. So, you know, he took higher priority in pursuing Toby over fighting the Kyuubi. And here's, like, here's my first question to you. Do you think this was the good decision? Should Minato have pursued Toby, or should he have, you know, prioritized the lives of the villagers over pursuing this one guy? Because here's the thing, you'll say, well, he had to separate the connection of Toby with the Kyuubi. Well, if he just sealed the Kyuubi away, then it wouldn't have mattered if Madara still had it with Genji. I'm calling him Madara. Whatever, I'll call him Madara. You know, if he still had control over the Kyuubi with Genji, it wouldn't matter if the Kyuubi was sealed away. If he stopped the Kyuubi beforehand, you know, and in the end, Minato did not stop him. He severed the connection with the Nine-Tails, but he didn't actually stop him because Toby just fled. So he managed to have Toby retreat, but doing so basically just cost the lives of villagers, simply put. He beat Toby, but there wasn't much of a point of beating Toby, because in the end he just seals the Nine-Tails anyway, which he could have done without pursuing Toby. So, I mean, you know, again, how much priority you put on this is up to you, but the point is, depending on how you look at it, you could say he could have made better decisions. And I would say so myself. I also could say, even if you wanted to pursue Toby, why did you not summon Gamabunta earlier? I mean, you could have summoned Gamabunta, have him assist the third Hokage in defending the village, but you didn't. So, whatever. But, the point is, there's this. And, again, nitpicky, but let's go on to the next point, which is where he pulls out the Reaper Death Seal to seal the Nine-tailed Fox. And, I mean, it's very weird because, like, you know, Fourth Hokage War, you know, so in the beginning of Naruto, to separate a Biju from the Jinchuriki, the Akatsuki have to do, like, this 3-day-long jutsu, like 9 Phantom Dragons or whatever it is. So it's like 3 days straight of just sitting there, just putting chakra into this, to extract one Biju from Gaara. So this is the kind of, like, what it takes to take a Biju out, or presumably seal a Biju within someone. Now, Minato, of course, uses the Reaper Death Seal, which is, as far as we know, the most powerful sealing technique within the series. So the fact that he can do this quicker seems more reasonable. Oh, okay, he can do this quick, but this is like the one where you get stuck in the Reaper's belly for all eternity as a cost for doing it. It's a auto-death for using it. So, okay, seems to make more sense that he can do this quicker because he's using this ability. The most powerful sealing jutsu we've seen within the series. Fourth Greninja War, though, on the other hand, to keep in mind, Fourth Greninja War is, it's the manga, like, we have to follow this. In the Fourth Cringe War, Obito, like, who is clearly near death, Raikiri right through him, hole literally through his chest. The dude's just bleeding. Black Zetsu comes out of him. The dude is screaming. You know, he's clearly, like, on death's door. He's somehow able to, like, absorb the Jubi into himself in, like, a second. And then he becomes the Jubi Jinchuriki. And I'm not going to go on to Obito's ridiculous antics of him surviving this Biju getting extracted from him. All of the Biju being extracted from him at once, I might add. But, you know, whatever. Madara then reforms the Jubi and absorbs it, like, instantly, too. Also very casual. He's doing this, like, walk. Like, and he, like, absorbs it into himself, like, with ease. And it's like, okay, so if it's this easy for the Jubi, then I'd assume you'd be able to do the same thing for the QB, right? And I'd assume you'd be able to do this. And here's the thing: if you're gonna say, well, like, we don't know, dude, and yeah, we don't know, but like, it's the Jubi, it's all the Biju all at once. So if you can seal that within yourself very easily with this unnamed, just random ability, then I presume Minato could have done this with the Ninetales, right? Could have done this with the Ninetales. So maybe he could have not commit suicide to seal the Ninetales. I'll add that into the possibilities, but I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna go on to that too much, because he does use the Reaper Death Seal, and this is what happens. And whether Kishimoto, however he was gonna do it, he had to have this be a thing, because of course we see, like when Hiruzen uses the Reaper Death Seal in the original Naruto against Orochimaru, he gets the exact same trigram seal on himself that Naruto has. So it was obviously pretty much directly implied to us that Minato used the Reaper Death Seal to seal the Ninetales into Naruto. So it makes sense. However, again, even if, let's say, he had to use the Reaper Death Seal to do this, he had another option, which is that he could have put the QB back into Kushina, too. He could have done that, too. Moreover, Kushina also suggested that he could have used another sealing jutsu. I think this is actually directly stated. I think Kushina literally said that you don't have to put the QB into Naruto. You can just seal the QB away via another means, or I will seal it myself, and you'll be able to survive with Naruto. Like, she gives him basically, you can survive with Naruto. So the point is, Minato either could have let Kushina survive or let himself survive, but he chose the option where both of them die. And Naruto grows up with no family, and Naruto grows up with the Ninetales inside of him, which of course led to him being, like, outcasted for, like, his entire childhood. So Minato basically chose the worst option. And I know you're going to say, well, Naruto benefited from having the QB in him in the end. In hindsight, it benefited. In hindsight. But this punch right here, very well deserved, I will say. Because, Naruto realizes this and he's like, you ruined my life? Excuse me? Falcon, he goes in. He goes in because, like, you ruined my life, dude. Okay? Like, seriously. So yeah, Naruto, in hindsight, benefited from having the QB. But not at all in the beginning. Oh, well, hey, a decade and a half later, you'll benefit. But until then, yeah, your life is gonna suck. Too bad, Oh, and by the way, I could have lived and raised you as a father, but no. Or I could have let your mother survive, but no. Like, I don't know if I would probably have heard that and be like, I personally myself, it's like, yeah, I could have not ruined your life, or at least ruined your life less, but I decided to ruin your life, so, it benefited in hindsight, right? Whatever. So, okay. Fine. Let's put that point down. So we can say as a Hokage, not really anything relevant under him happening. He protected the leaf and sacrificed himself to do so, but as Jiraiya said, all the Hokage did that, so not really that unique in that regard. As a father, quite questionable. I would probably also say around equivalent with Itachi's antics. Maybe even worse, depending on how you look at it. With what he did to Sasuke right there, I might say. So, as a father, kind of problematic, I must say. But, So going from there, Minato as a sensei. Because Minato was a sensei before, sensei of Kakashi, and Obito, and Rin. And 2 of his students died under his watch. So, yeah. So, and by the way, 2 of his students died under his watch while he's the fastest dude in the world as well. You're on hiatus, dude. You're MIA. And 2 of your students die. Was Might Guy MIA? Actually, he was. Okay, Might Guy was MIA, and then Neji died. Although it was like the Ten Tails toothpicks. So I'm not sure if Might Guy could have done anything about that. But okay. Was Kurenai MIA? Yes. But her students didn't die. She was pregnant, MIA, but still, they got out of it. They got out unscathed. So, Minato. What's the excuse, dude? What's going on, dude? I don't get it. Oh, and by the way, according to the Fourth Ninja War, you have Sage abilities. You have Sage when you can sense these things, right? So, you can sense these things, and you can do it in a second, too, I might add. Like, Minato throws a kunai, shing, Sage mode. So, dude, you can sense these things very adeptly. And, you have this ability where you can teleport to, like, any marker you have anywhere in the world at any time for any length of time. Yeah, because Obito gets marked by this thing, and then 20 years later, well, I guess 16 years later, whatever, he still has this marking on him. So it's like, dude, like, why are you MIA? And it wasn't only once, but like twice. And it's like, really, dude? So it's like, again, you might say, well, you can't blame him, dude. You can't blame him. But it's like, if anyone to blame it, yeah. And even Obito says this. He's like, yo, dude, you're supposed to be like the greatest ninja. You're supposed to be the fastest ninja. You're supposed to be the Hokage. You're supposed to be epic. And here I am about to, like, enslave the planet. And it's all because you suck. And you were MIA. You were late. That's why. And you suck. So, yeah. And that's what Obito says. And you know what, Obito? I don't like you, but yeah, I get what you're saying. I gotcha. Yeah. Makes sense to me, frankly. I think Obito put it pretty well. So, yeah. Minato let 2 of his students die, and responsible, as a consequence of letting Rin died. As a consequence of that, I mean, Kakashi says you let Rin die. Let's be like Minato let Rin die. What I'm saying. Obito became what Obito became, and he, manipulated the blood mist, and he helped genocide the Uchiha, and he released the Kyuubi, which led to Minato and his wife's direct death and Naruto's childhood sucking. And he made the Akatsuki, and he started the 4th Great Ninja War, and all of this. So, as a consequence of Minato being late, all of this happened. So, as a sensei, Minato, you're looking like the worst in the entire series, I must say. People say Kakashi is a questionable sensei because he didn't train Sakura or something, and Sasuke went MIA too. Kakashi is looking a little bit better over here, I must say, as a sensei relative to you, sir. I don't know. I must say. So, Okay, so Minato as a sensei, possibly the worst in the series. Possibly the worst in the series. Okay. So, let us go onward to Minato within the overall plot of Naruto. And this is where we get into what was said about Minato before and after he appeared, as well as combat. So, Minato is one of the most hyped characters in the entire series. Possibly the most, depending on the time period of Naruto you're looking at. So in the beginning of Naruto, it is said Minato was the strongest Hokage. He is also said by Jiraiya to have been, unseen talent. Like the most talented shinobi in the world. And if you want to go even further into supplementary material, I believe on the Chunin exam, scores. I believe he got the absolute best score on the written test of all time, and he got number 2 on the Forest of Death. As we know in the series, Gaara got number 1, and then Minato got number 2, and then Itachi got number 3. Apparently is how it goes. So, this dude, as a shinobi, in terms of talent, in terms of skill, in terms of adeptness for it, all that. I mean, he's really the cream of the crop. He is exemplary. Moreover, he invented his own jutsu, the Rasengan, which took him 3 years, an A-class technique. Apparently, nowadays we know to be based off the Biju Dama. That's a retcon, but it is what it is. And he also mastered the Flying Raijin Jutsu, which originally we thought to be his own kind of unique thing, but apparently it was invented by Tobirama, and other than when used by Tobirama and Minato, it is basically very difficult to perform. Almost basically no one else besides Tobirama and Minato can perform this technique. Even people who you'd think would be able to, like Hiruzen, who supposedly mastered all the jutsu in the Hidden Leaf, we've never seen him use it, so I guess even he hasn't mastered it to the point that Minato and Hiruzen have. Or Minato and Tobirama have, so, I don't know. But, point is, all of these are very exceptional. He only has one one-on-one fight in the series, and it's against Tobi, and very impressively, he beat Tobi. The only character in the series to actually be able to harm Tobi with his Kamui transparency without the use of Kamui itself. Yes, other characters needed Kamui to counter itself, but he was able to hurt Tobi on his own terms, and also immediately, within 2 exchanges, he just hits this dude and just handles him. So impressive. In combat, impressive. So was he worth the hype though? The answer is no. Was he impressive? Yes. Was he worth the hype? No. Is Minato the strongest shinobi? No. Is Minato the strongest Hokage? No. And I'm not even talking about compared to a Naruto. Because of course, Naruto would have surpassed Minato. But is he stronger than Hashirama? No. Is he stronger than Tobirama? No, he isn't. No, I'm not talking about Biju mode. I'm talking about when they were alive. Okay? Is he stronger than Tobirama? No. Physically, he is weaker than Tobirama. Moreover, even though he's faster than Tobirama, that's only slightly. We don't really see a real significant difference between their speeds. And I'm saying Tobirama alive would beat Minato alive. I'm saying it. Tobirama is smarter than Minato. He has more abilities than Minato. He has all 5 natures. He is stronger than Minato. Minato has Biju mode, but Tobirama, who alive would have been stronger, by the way, than his Edo form. Room starts shaking. I don't see Minato doing that when he powers up. I'm not seeing it. Hiruzen is able to crack tiles, as Orochimaru was, but I'm not even seeing Minato do that. I personally think Hiruzen's chakra output is superior to Minato's. And going on that line, Hiruzen better than Minato at this point. Yeah, Hiruzen, of course, originally the god of Shinobi, the professor, master of all jutsu in the Hidden Leaf. Minato simply doesn't have that to his name. Minato does not have all the jutsu in the Hidden Leaf. Doesn't have that. So, you ask me, Hiruzen's better too. Better as a shinobi, better as a Hokage, all that. Tobirama, much better as a Hokage. Dude invented the Chunin exams. Dude invented the Anbu. Dude invented the Edo Tensei. Blah, blah, blah. Minato in comparison. And again, like, I'm not necessarily like saying he's super bad, but we're making a comparison over here, and I'm not seeing it. Yeah, you invented Rasengan, but Tobirama invented, like, way better. More, okay? Tobirama invented more, not even in terms of jutsu, but in terms of all these other things that are essential to the workings of the life. I mean, seriously. And Aishirama way more powerful, and also founded the Leaf Village itself, so, yeah. Minato was disappointing relative to his hype, and Minato was disappointing. Okay? Like, Minato, strong shinobi. Definitely a strong shinobi. Did he live up to the hype? No. And that bugs me. He didn't live up to the hype, so, overhyped character. And this will be the final point. About Minato. And these other things, for me, you can ignore them. A lot of these things are more of like a matter of perspective. Like, oh, who is the best Hokage? Well, that's how you rate these things, right? Who's the strongest, etc. That's debatable, because I know some people who say, oh, Minato's better than Hiruzen and Tobirama, so you can say that. But those are debatable, and then his moral questioning things that are about him when it comes to the QB attack and how he responded to that. Again, matter of perspective. You might think he responded perfectly well. The last thing is not exactly as interpretable. These things are problems. And what are these problems? They are plot holes. So, what tired out me immensely when it came to Minato is all of these problems and plot holes which emerged around his character in the Fourth Ninja War. Now, you can say this for a lot of characters in the Fourth Ninja War, but for Minato, there were quite a bit in particular that bugged the heck out of me, and it feels like no one talks about them. So, let's go. Number 1, when he is brought back to life. The first thing is Biju mode. I'm sorry. No matter how much people loved this, because when this happened, all I remember was people just, oh, Minato. That's all I remember. Everyone loved this, and I hated it. I saw this and I'm just like, what? What is this? What is this? I thought it was stupid, because number 1, initially, I forgot that he even sealed half the Nine Tails into Naruto, because this is the first problem we get. Naruto doesn't have the full Nine Tails since when, Kishimoto? Well, Fourth Ninja War, in the flashback, he sealed half the Nine Tails into himself, and half of the other Nine Tails into Naruto. Really? So the entire time, Naruto has had the Nine Tails. It was actually only half the Nine Tails. By the way, because Minato was dead, that means that the other half of the Nine Tails was also dead. So, like, I mean, I guess it makes sense because the other Jinchuriki... Well, wait a second. The other Jinchuriki were brought back, and then they were, like, given the tail beasts again. And Toby in the Fourth Ninja War, for some reason, is able to, like, extract the Biju in, like, a second. Remember how this used to take 3 days? Well, he just does it in, like, a second now. So, like, Minato, I guess, if you're brought back and you had a Biju within you, you'll still have it within you if you died with it. So that means, like, the other half of this QB is also dead. Like, at the same time. So, like, and Minato just comes into the Fourth Ninja War here as Neto Tensei, and he just pulls this out. Just pulls this out. And it makes no sense. There's no explanation to it, to this day. He just comes out and he's able to use Biju mode for some reason. Now, do you remember how the QB reacted when Minato showed up in Naruto's body? He said, "Oh, Fourth Hokage, I hate you. Come here, let me kill you." Ah! That's what he felt. That's what he felt to Naruto. I'm sorry, to Minato, right? Minato shows up and the Nine Tails wants to kill him. He hates him. Why? Oh, well, now I'm in the body of this brat for, like, years. I hate that. So, I hate you, Minato. Makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, it would make sense that the Nine Tails would hate Minato, probably second most to Madara, right, in terms of this being done to him. So why is, like, the Yin Kyuubi just chums with Minato? Like, even more so than kind of like Naruto was with, like, the Yang Kyuubi, or at least, like, he just comes in and then, like, the Yin Kyuubi's like, yeah, let's go, Minato, yeah, yeah, and they're like, what? Like, what? Like, what? And then there's also things like Minato recognizing, I think I think there was a part where he recognized Jiraiya being dead, which he wouldn't have known. The only way he would have known that is Naruto telling him in the whole chakra thing. So there was this weird thing where it's like, it seemed like Minato could, like, understand the things Naruto told him when they met, in Naruto's, like, body in the pain fight, even though, like, is your soul in the Reaper get, like, Skype connection with, like, your chakra that, like, remains in Naruto or whatever? It's really weird. It's really weird. But, that is for more nitpicky, but the point is this Biju mode thing makes no sense. And no one can explain it. No one can explain it to this day. They'll just say, well, you know, like, Minato, he's, like, naturally talented, dude. And, like, the Ninetales just, like, realized that this had to be done, dude. And they can come up with other damage control. They can say whatever they want. They can say, well, he trained with it in the body of the Reaper or whatever. But, like, in the Reaper, you're supposed to be, like, in a drunken stupor for all eternity, fighting forever. So it's like, he was, like, drunk, and he did this or something? Like, no. It makes no sense. To this day, it makes no sense. No explanation. And also, another thing that's so annoying about this Biju mode. Is it Biju mode? What is it? You know, like Biju mode with Naruto, it's very clear. He gets the whiskers, he gets the slanted eyes, he gets these Ninetales features, and he gets the jacket. Minato doesn't have the whiskers, doesn't have the slanted eyes, but he's able to do like a Kyuubi avatar, so it looks like a Kyuubi Chakra mode, more so, but like he has like Biju mode abilities in it, and it's like, why? Like, why is it different? Why is it so confusing? Another annoying thing about it, he never uses Biju unique abilities in this form. He doesn't do the stretchy arms or whatever, like, oh, Minato, you're missing both of your arms. Wouldn't it be nice if you could pull some out and use those? Like, oh, I need an arm to do a Rasengan. Well, how about pull out one of those arms and do a Rasengan with that? Or throw a kunai with that, or do whatever. Why does he not use the unique Biju abilities? You know, it feels like the only reason he has this is so he doesn't get, like, one-shotted. Like, he has enough, like, defensive ability to, like, survive attacks or whatever. Because even though he's in Biju mode, he, like, never uses Biju abilities. Now, he does use the Avatar, which I hated, because I thought, oh, he has the KCM, so, like, he just got the base form, he's not going to use the Avatar. Pulls out the Avatar. And this is where we get another problem. So he requests Naruto, who is using Sage Biju mode, to add Sage Chakra to his Rasengan that he makes. Which at the time made sense, because as far as we know, Minato did not have Sage mode. So okay, he like has Sage Chakra added to his Rasengan to damage Obito, because the Mach Sage cannot be damaged otherwise by nature energy abilities. So this is required for Minato. Okay. The thing is, though, Minato, not only do you show almost more, you know, adept use of the Kyuubi Chakra than Naruto himself, not only do you have infinite chakra at the moment, so you don't need to worry about the same thing that Naruto did, where his Kyuubi was running out of chakra or whatever, or what he was running out of chakra. You know, you're fine, Minato. Also, you have Sage mode, and you are a perfect Sage, as shown by the lack of frog features on your body. So I ask Minato, why do you not use Sage mode? Why do you not use Biju Sage mode? Why do you not do that? No explanation. No reason. He just doesn't, for some reason. Maybe because Kishimoto didn't realize that he would have to pull out that ridiculous stunt in that Madara situation. So he was trying to like maintain it, but in that desperate moment, he just couldn't help himself and just Minato Sage mode, and then just went. And yeah, the plot was trying to like exist. It was like, it was lifting up this mountain of just inconsistencies, just, you know, it was just crushing everything, and then it just, Kishimoto just said, let it go. I don't care. He said he has Sage Mode, and that's it. That's what he did. So, makes no sense. And this whole Biju thing, it revolves, you know, it's a significant plot hole within the series with no explanation. Moreover, the Sage Mode thing, same thing. If he had Sage Mode, why didn't he use it against Toby? Why didn't he do that, right? Would have made sense if he hit Toby with the Rasengan and Sage Mode, probably would have killed him. No, because Obito has like infinite, you know, resistance. He can just tank anything. He can tank a Raikiri right through his body and be fine. So I guess it wouldn't have killed him. But you know, like why? Like that's no. And then Kishimoto's like, well, he sucks at Sage Mode. Why is he perfect Sage then? That's the main question. Why is he able to go into Sage Mode faster than Naruto? Like with Naruto, at least it made. Because the thing with Naruto is at least these things were still making sense with Naruto by this point. Yes, his chakra seemed like unlimited, and he was just spamming jutsu left and right. But at least the confounds of his abilities seemed to still follow the rules. Oh, he has KCM, but he has a limited amount of chakra, right? The Ninetales does. He has Sage Mode, but he has to wait and meditate to build that up. And if he really needs it, then he can have like a clone in the back do it. And, you know, when he went into Biju mode, he was able to build up Sage Mode even faster. Which is like, oh, okay, he can tap into nature energy quicker. We saw that, like, Naruto's presumably Yang Chakra, or whatever it was, enhanced the Hashirama, or the Zetsu bodies, and led to wood style coming out of them. So that would imply that Yang Chakra, or whatever Ninetales Chakra is, enhances wood style and probably natural energy as relation to that. It's kind of like sort of a stretch, but you can use the implication of that to make a fair assumption about that. So, okay, Naruto can build up Sage Mode relatively quickly in Biju mode. Makes sense. Minato, on the other hand, he does. It makes no sense. To this day, it makes no sense. There is no explanation for it. Moreover, Minato himself, as being one of the revived Hokage, is part of, in my opinion, the worst plot hole of the Fourth Greninja War, which is reviving the Hokage. Because this is the stupidest thing. I gotta get into this. So I think most people understand why, in terms of the rules of the verse, this is stupid. But let's go over them anyway. So, in the original Naruto, Orochimaru is sealed with the Reaper Death Seal. So, his arms, from that point, are incapable of using ninjutsu, and they're also in extreme physical pain. I always presume because the spiritual energy of the arms rests within the belly of the Reaper, and therefore this kind of separation between the spiritual and physical energies causes immense pain because it is unnatural. It's why if you run out of chakra, you die. Chakra is a combination of physical and spiritual energy. So if you only have a remnant of physical energy left, well, let's say your body is going to be on more dying mode. But nonetheless, Orochimaru was in severe physical pain, and he couldn't use jutsu. Now, he switched bodies near the end of the original Naruto, which seemingly, like, this confused me, but apparently what it did is Orochimaru still has the limitation and he can't use jutsu, but he no longer has the physical pain of not having his arms. So his arms still didn't work, but he didn't have the physical pain anymore. And as his body began to decline at the end of Shippuden, middle of Shippuden, I guess, right after the Rasen Shuriken stuff, Sasuke, his whole arc thing, Orochimaru begins to decline, becomes more sick. So, you know, he still at this point doesn't have jutsu, which for me was weird because it's like, you don't have jutsu, but you're like summoning the Rashomon, the Rashomon gates, and you're like summoning snakes, and you're doing all this stuff. So it's like, how does he not have his arms? He literally does the whole bite his fingers and then summons like the Rashomon gates. So it's like, what are you talking about? He doesn't have his arms. Like, you see where this makes no sense? But the point is, apparently, according to Kishimoto in the Fourth Ninja War, he doesn't have his arms. Like, this is apparently how it works. So, he goes to, with Sasuke, they go to some kind of, like, abandoned Uzumaki village or something. And he just gets out this mask. It is a mask of the Grim Reaper. And then he puts on this mask, and he's able to summon the Reaper. And the Reaper cuts open his own belly. And this releases all of the souls that are in the belly of the Reaper at that time, which were, I guess, just the Hokage? Which is weird, because you would think there would be more, because probably people have used it before, right? But I guess not, whatever. So it's just the Hokage. And then, with the souls of the Hokage released, he performed the Edo Tensei, and because their souls are now in the Pure Land, not the belly of the Reaper, he's able to perform Edo Tensei on these Zetsu, which were apparently tracking Sasuke or something like that. Like, they're like on Sasuke's body, which is really weird. Whatever. Point is, he uses these Zetsu as hosts for the Edo Tensei, and then he summons the Hokage. Main question here. A couple questions. Number one. If this existed, why didn't Orochimaru do this already? Like, if Orochimaru still had the problem of his arms are sealed, then it's been 3 years since the original Naruto. Why didn't he just go and get this? People have said, why didn't he get the Sound 4 to take this mask? Because this is apparently in like a Uzumaki village very close to the Leaf. Why didn't he just get the Sound 4 to get this mask on the way to getting Sasuke? And they went to get Sasuke. But whatever, like, he had 3 years. Why didn't he go and get this? And you say, well, the security. The dude infiltrated the Leaf with his entire, like, sound squad that he made, and had Kabuto infiltrate and all that. Like, Orochimaru is pretty much the best in infiltration we've seen, for the most part, in the series. So, this should be easy for him. Why did he not just get this mask and cure his arms immediately? Why didn't he just do it? Well, no explanation. Second question. Orochimaru says in the manga, I think they might have changed the line in the anime or something, but in the manga he says, someone told me about this mask. Someone told you? Who? I mean, if this is so secret, then who told you this? Some dude? People like to say it's Karin. Karin was from the village hidden in the grass, which is a completely different country than the Leaf Village, so why would Karin know about this? I mean, oh, she's Uzumaki, but, like, why would she know about this location specifically? I mean, whatever. Again, whatever. Like, the thing is, it doesn't matter who this person was, because this mask contradicts the entire series. It contradicts the Reaper Death Seal completely. If the Reaper Death Seal was so easy to cancel, then there is no reason Hiruzen would have ever used it. Like, if it was just, oh, get this mask, yeah, you're done, then this never would have been used. It was implied in the original that this was, like, you know, undoable. So, if it isn't, then why? So, Minato is part of these several issues. Moreover, he's a central part of the Obito character, who I don't like, and I'm not here to talk about why I don't like Obito, but I don't like Obito, and he is a central part of this character. And, you know, for that reason, he is surrounded by these plot holes which exist in Fourth Ninja War. Now, he's not separate. He's not part of the plot holes later. Like, he has nothing to do with the whole Kakashi Susanoo thing, because he isn't around for that. But until then, all of these plot holes, the Biju mode with no explanation, the Sage mode with no explanation, both of which are awful. And the Biju mode specifically is terrible because it's very important to the combat sections of this arc, and it just makes no sense. And no one has ever been able to explain it to me, ever. And you can't explain it because it just completely contradicts what happened with Naruto. I guess I should have said this. Naruto, to get control of the Kyuubi, what did he have to do? Well, number one, he had to not have the Kyuubi hate him, which required him being alive for like 16 years, and the Kyuubi like seeing him grow as like a child, and Naruto not having direct hostility to the Kyuubi, etc. He also had to go through this whole like thing where he fought like the like pure evil version of himself at like the Waterfall of Truth or whatever, and like embrace the evil version of himself, and like hug the evil version of himself, be like, hey, you know, blah blah blah. And then he had to like fight the Kyuubi directly, like brawl with it, and do like Sage Mode, Giant Rasengans, and like Rasen Shurikens on this. I'll ask you this. How would Minato even be able to fight the Ninetales? How would he be able to do that? Minato, you might say at best, Massive Rasengan. Well, he's never done a Massive Rasengan. He's done a sort of Giant Rasengan, but for the most part, he just does normal Rasengan. And you might say, well, Sage Mode. Well, if he sucks at Sage Mode, why is he able to fight the Ninetales? Moreover, Naruto, even with Sage Mode, even with all the chakra he had, which Naruto has much more chakra than Minato, he still required the help of Killer Bee in the fight directly, Yamato keeping the Ninetales at bay, and Kushina using her chains and all of this. And Naruto not only required all of the Rasengan to do this on the Ninetales, the giant Rasengans, the massive Rasengans I should say, and Rasen Shuriken, but also all of these different clones that had to like pull out the chakra of the Ninetales. How would Minato have been able to do any of this? So Minato fought the evil version of himself and like got reconciled with the evil version of himself, and then fought the Ninetales with none of the conditions or advantages that Naruto had, or strengths, and somehow won, and somehow got that chakra, and somehow befriended the Ninetales, who should hate him much more than the Ninetales already did not like Naruto. Even the process of the whole thing makes no sense at all. Period. It's never going to be justified. You can say whatever you want. And keep in mind, even if you say he did it in the belly of the Reaper, he would have done it drunk. He would have done... No, it makes no sense. So, you have Biju Mode being stupid. To this day, stupid. He has Sage Mode. Stupid. And it also makes him worse earlier. Because why didn't he use it against Toby? And then finally, he is part of the Hokage being revived, which is, in my opinion, one of the worst plot holes in the Fourth Hokage world. One of the worst moments in Naruto, actually, because it really dumbed down the continuity of the story immensely. The only advantage of the Hokage being revived was seeing Tobirama get characterized further and seeing him in combat. Because it was good because we hadn't seen that before. Otherwise, a net drawback. So, Minato is part of this calamity, and he is part of the tragedy of the Fourth Hokage War, and he has all these problems surrounding him, and for that reason, I have significant problems with the character Minato. Last thing to reveal, though, which is that, even though I said Minato sucks, which I would agree with, I did not say I hate Minato. Keep that in mind. I don't hate Minato. I don't have anything against Minato. And I don't have anything against the people who like Minato. But I think Minato is a significantly flawed character who is, honestly, even by critical reviewers who are aware of like Naruto's core issues, I think gets swept under the rug in terms of the significant flaws surrounding him. And for me, I think that Minato is kind of crushed under his overhype, both within and without the series itself. And for that reason, I have to say that I think Minato sucks. Mainly because he's part of the final arc of Naruto, which sucks and made most things in Naruto by that point suck. Even the best things in Naruto, like Gaara. Gaara got crushed. Gaara got crushed in the Fourth Ninja War, and so did Minato, under the foot of Kishimoto's apathy. And I'm sorry to say that. So I'm sorry to the Minato tards. I have nothing against you. Love Minato as much as you want. But for me, these are flaws which simply can't be overlooked. And for me, I will never be a Minato tard for that reason. So, say what you want, say what you will. But, for me, that's my opinion of the overall situation. So, with that said, I'm Spaghetti King. Thank you for watching. I love you all. And farewell.